The last paragraph is what I want to read. What I'm going to read. The lessons of this pamphlet are not for sale, but for the sake of humanity, as I am a prophet and the servant is worthy of his hire. You can receive this pamphlet at expense. That's the whole sentence. The lesson of this pamphlet are not for sale. Is this a book or a pamphlet? Pamphlet. Remember that. It's a pamphlet. Is this for sale?
No.
You know, when you sell something, you gain it revenue.
Yes.
So, if it costs $5 to print this pamphlet, how much should you sell it for?
$5.
Shame on you to sell it more than that. Because it's a direct order in this sentence that you can't sell it. You can only get what you paid for it for.
Yes.
Now, I didn't say that. I didn't write that. So who said it and who wrote it? Who? Who? The Prophet Noble Jew Ali. Watch this. And the servant is worthy of his hire. Who's the servant? You sure? Who said we are? Oh my. We're serving, but in this case, it's one servant.
Yeah.
Who's been hired. Who hired this servant?
Allah.
And since he hired him, he wanted him to do some work for him.
Islam.
And he's saying he's worthy of his hire, which means what?
Doing his job.
You paying him for Allah is paying him for what work he wants him to do.
Yes.
And he's worthy of it because he's giving it to you and I.
Islam.
You and I. He's giving it. So he's worthy of his hire.
Islam.
Who hired him, he's making himself worthy of it because he's working. He said, I am your affectionate leader, and I am laboring for you both night and day, in public and in private.
Yes.
He said that.
That was Islam.
And he was, and he still is. When he pulled the veil, he said, I'm still working for you.
That's right.
He said, I love my people. You know, when you are working and you love your work, it's not hard.
Yes, sir.
It's heaven.
That's right.
When hope and love are in back of toil,
That's right.
then what? All is well.
That's right.
So the Prophet Noble Drew Ali being manifested by the all seven eyes of Allah, his earthly body was made to work and love the work that he did. So a servant is worthy of his hire. Our prophet is the servant who's worthy of his hire, who Allah Almighty is who he's working for. I didn't say that. It's right here. He said it.
Islam.
Watch this. You can receive this pamphlet at expense. This is the only other time you're going to see pamphlet. At expense. What does that mean? If the expense of this pamphlet was $5, then that's what you're going to receive it for. Again, you cannot sell wisdom like this. It's not for sale. It has never been for sale. And it will never be for sale. You can't sell this. It's too heavy. It is too great.
Yes.
It is priceless.
Yes, sir. Right, Mo.
And when something of this great magnitude is priceless, you can't sell it. Say that it wasn't priceless. And when you read this, men who didn't know any better said, I'll pay you any amount of money you have for this. I'm a millionaire, I'll give you $1 million if you sell me this. There is no number of rupees, naira, pesos, dollars that you can buy this for. Islam? Watch this. The reason these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine, India, Egypt, and Palestine had these secrets and kept them back from the outside world. And when the time appointed by Allah, they loosened the keys and freed the secrets. And for the first time in ages, these secrets have been delivered into the hands of the Muslims of America. Stop right there. Listen to Drew Ali as he talked. The reason, because some people, why haven't we had this all along? Because they're Muslims from 3 countries that had these secrets. Now we know about India and Egypt, but all of us miss Palestine.
That's right, Mo.
There must be a Palestine state. You can't push Palestine off the map and say it don't exist. India, when you read To Thee I Grant, and you look in the front cover that's been reprinted by some other group, the question, just going back a little bit, would have to ask, where did they get it from? You see a picture of Chinese monks with the scrolls, am I right or wrong? So being a young student about 25 or 27 years ago, when you're old then, I was a researcher, and I explained that to you. In February the 12th, 1978, when I got this, I left my job and got on public aid for 1, maybe 2 years. All I wanted to do was to eat this. Really? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's all I did was study Drew Ali, day and night, till my face would fall in the book at night. Huh? Pamphlet. Pamphlet, yeah. Feel that. Feel that. And when I got to this point, I said, well, these people look like Chinese. But who inhabited that part of India before the Chinese got there? Moors that were Indians. Tibet and those places is where the Indians lived. Later came the Chinese. Now I knew what the prophet was saying when he said India, Egypt, and Palestine. The heart of Palestine is now called what? Israel. No. The heart. Israel is part of Palestine, yeah. But the heart of Palestine is now called what? Jordan. Jordan. Jordan is where Jericho is. Jericho is where Rahab was born. Rahab was a Canaanite. Most of the Canaanites were heavily populated that area. Boaz's mother was what? Who said Canaanite? She was Canaanite. Rahab was a Canaanite who married an Israelite, and from that union came who? Boaz. Who married Ruth. The line of genealogy through some of the people that Jesus came through, Islam. So it's connected. When you read Prophet Noble Drew Ali's teachings, well, you scholars, you must have your Quran here, your questionnaire, and your Constitution on the same table. It's like a thread that weaves back and forth, if you really want to get the gusto. Because it's all tied together and it makes sense. So, these lessons came from areas where some of these great fathers came from and lived and breathed. Now, here's the question. Many so-called scholars say, well, this look like this come from the Aquarian Gospel. This look like it come from To Thee I Grant. How many, raise your hand, don't say nothing to the scholars. How many amongst us tonight see some of the prophet's work in the Aquarian Gospel? Raise your hand. Oh. How many see this work in To Thee I Grant? Oh, nobody. Because you have people who say, well, this is here, this is here. You're scared to raise your hand, but that's okay. Don't, you see, and that's the problem because...
No, you say no scholars raise their hand. Everybody thinks they're scholars.
How many more in here have read the Aquarian Gospel?
See?
Some of the lessons in here, did that come from there?
No.
Some of the lessons from that went in the Aquarian Gospel.
Most importantly, the point, I'm going to just fast forward. Howard Bay. What did we just read where they come from? Where they come from? East End? That's real important. Never remove all doubt. And anybody that come to you with that yang yang, this didn't come from no Aquarian Gospel. It didn't come from nowhere else. It came from the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine.
Islam.
Now, who said it? Who said it? Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Is he right? Islam, he's right. In all argument, all of that jumping up and down, that's where it comes from. Now, what's next? What's next is that it was never in America. And what people consider the most difficult understanding is what we take for granted every day. The first thing we take for granted every day is that time never was when man was not. We take that for granted. And that little piece right there, given to somebody who didn't know, it blows their mind.
That's right.
Another piece, man is not the body of the soul, he's the spirit of Allah. That blows their mind. What? Because you got people who speak, who paid to give these big lectures and write volumes of books on what is love. Of man's existence. Bestsellers. Well, man, does he really die? Well, not actually he doesn't, because this happens and that happens, and so forth and so on. When the prophet teach, it's like a short punch. But in that punch, it's like 1,000,000 pieces of understanding.
That's right.
Or more. Because you can read something out of here and put the pamphlet down for a week and go back and read it again and get something else.
That's right.
It's like the information calls you back and say, hey, it's something else.
That's right.
I was trying to let that settle first so you can get this too.
Praise Allah.
Then you put it down for a month and go back and say, here's something else. Well, I was letting you digest that too for a little while. Here's something else for you. How you like that? Oh, this is, I read it, but I never saw that. Look at this. Look at here, look at here, look at here. I've been reading this pamphlet for a long time, and for myself. Then another more, be reading it, and you say, yeah, the hero, the most renowned of human character, what is he but a bubbler of this week? Oh no, it's such. Oh no, it's vanity. Oh, it's something else. It's juicy. It's tasty. And it do be tasty. Because knowledge is information, and information is power.
Yes.
The more knowledge and the more information you have, the better decisions you make in your life. Islam? Without information, you can't make no valid decision on what to do. You need information. You need that demonstration. So you can make a better decision.
Yeah.
He said, this is what you have to watch here. Now we in this little paragraph here. Look at all this meat. We done dug out of here since then. You ever crack a walnut and you didn't get all the meat out the nut? You got to get your nut picker and dig in that fork and get the little tiny pieces. Yeah, that's what this is here. He said, they didn't give you the keys. They did what?
Loosen.
Loosen.
You gotta take.
Loosen don't mean everything. Just loosen enough for you can get this, because it's overwhelming. He says, the wisdom is far too great for me. Far too fine for me. It is. The prophet said, how did Sister Diane put it? She probably gonna have to quote it. If I told you all you need, the European would know tomorrow. Within an hour. Some scientists say we don't use not even 1/10 of our brain. You know, there's a thing called auto projection. Raise your hand if you ever heard of auto projection. If you have heard of auto projection, raise your hand. Auto, A-U-T-O, auto. Excuse the lips, they're too big. Auto projection. No, honestly, people with jibs like me, sometimes you can't
get everything out.
Now go home, sir. Brad, she got some big jibs. Yeah, I do. I love that boy. That's my boy. That's my boy. Auto projection. That means we're able to project in the future. Some people call it deja vu, but auto projection means you've already done it, been there, and they say, oh, you remember that? There's something about it I remember. You have been able to project, oh, I already did this, I saw this, so I'm just doing it all over again. That's a common trait with human beings in their mind. We all demonstrate auto projection, but we don't know that we're doing it. We all extend our thoughts sometimes to such an extent, we actually cause things to be. And don't do it. Oh, I'm just lucky. Oh, that was just luck. No, it was you.
Wow.
It was you. That's why if you want a building, you think and meditate on that building and project it for the future, and it will manifest.
Yes.
Did not the prophet say we were the Lord of things made manifest? And that we were creators and we create our own?
Yes,
Well, step off. Step off. I believe I created my wife. The only part about it is she's so short.
What's wrong with
But I had in mind that my wife would be like almost 6 feet. And keep be looking down, what you want, hubby? You know. Honestly, auto projection. Loosen the keys. Just think, the keys are just loosened, and we getting this much? We getting this much of what we comprehend? We getting this much. They loosen the keys and free to what? That means that this pamphlet, everything in it at one time was a secret. Nobody talked about it. And if they thought you knew, they would not even make a mention or a comment or nothing. They would be thinking in their mind, oh, that's really a secret. It was a secret, and nobody talked about it. Even if you said things that they knew that was already in here. They never talked about it. Now, for the first time in ages, you know, we measure ages by a great event. Not by measuring years, all these years, 100 years plus 100, then 200, and that's an age. An age is measured by a great event. The age we in now is the age of what? Oh, man. What did the prophet say the age was? Emmanuel. And then in chapter 2, Emmanuel. Ages are measured by an event. The event that we're in the age now, or what affects this age, is the coming of Noble Drew Ali.
Islam.
When he came, that marked a new age. Because ain't nothing never happened like that to human beings for ages. And we are still in that part of that aura of that age by him coming. We're in that age. 1,000 years from now, we will be in those books like Manu is in the books now. The law of Manu.
That's right.
This is the age of Emmanuel, the kingdom of heaven. Allah in man. Allah is in man, and we know it, and we know what to do. We know we got to use it. It was a secret, and the keys have been loosened now. Islam?
Islam.
Thank you, peace.